Close your eyes gently and take a few deep breaths. Inhale deeply through your nose, filling your lungs, and exhale slowly through your mouth. With each breath, allow yourself to relax more deeply, letting go of any tension in your body. As you continue to breathe, envision roots extending from your feet into the earth. Feel the stability and support of the ground beneath you. Imagine these roots connecting you to your ancestors who are part of this earth. With each breath, feel the energy of the earth rising up through your roots and into your body, grounding you in this moment. Now visualize a soft, warm light surrounding you. This light forms a circle, a sacred space that invites the presence of your ancestors. Picture this circle as a safe haven where love and wisdom flow freely. With each breath, feel the energy of the circle growing stronger, inviting all positive ancestral energies to join you. Begin to focus on the intention of connecting with your ancestors. Silently invite them to step forward, welcoming any family members, guides, or spirits who wish to share their wisdom with you. As you breathe, remain open to the feelings and images that arise. You may feel warm, hear whispers, or just simply sense their presence around you. Now see who comes forth in this circle. Allow yourself to visualize their faces, their expressions, and the energy they bring. Notice how they stand in the circle, perhaps smiling or extending their hands toward you. Take a moment to acknowledge them, feeling gratitude for their presence and the legacy they have passed down to you. If a specific ancestor resonates with you, take a moment to connect with them. You may wish to ask them a question or simply express your appreciation for their guidance and support. Listen for any messages or feelings they may share. As you listen to the message that your loved one is sharing, pay attention to your heart space, noticing that it is open to receiving the message. And from this heart space, thank your beloved ancestor for the message that you've received. Gently say to yourself, thank you for coming. You are always here and present with me. When you feel ready, thank your ancestor for their presence and wisdom. Visualize the light of the circle gently dissolving, knowing that you can return to the space whenever you wish. Slowly bring your awareness back to the present moment. Wiggle your fingers, your toes, stretch, yawn. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Take a deep breath in, feeling refreshed and connected, carrying the energy of your ancestors with you as you move throughout your day. Thank you. This concludes this evening's meditation.
Hello. My name is Rosanna, and I go by she and her pronouns, and I am what God made me. I want to acknowledge the land that we gather on, acknowledging the Ohlone ancestors, especially during this season and this time, acknowledging them for their stewardship and the love of the land. Aho. I'm going to do a libation now, and this is a special bottle. It carries the herb in it called Damiana, and it's for female body parts, we'll say. And it's been infused with fresh sage from last year's gathering. So that's what I will be blessing all of our ancestors with. And I'd like to get permission from our elder. And there you are. Yes, may we begin. Thank you. I want to say something about libation, and that for those of you who don't know, sometimes you see the homies drinking their 40, and before they take a sip, you know, they're all hanging out, they go like that, and then they start drinking. Sometimes you see Yoruba tradition at the Bembe, they'll take a shot of rum and then they'll go on the altar. And then in the indigenous culture, you'll see a shot glass on the altar of libation in it, their favorite spirit, we'll say. So just a little bit of history there, and libation is water or spirits. It's a pouring of liquid. So I want to start by calling on all of those who have gone before us. Ashe. I call on the ones yet to be. Ashe. I call on the ancestors from the east and the west and the south and the north. Ashe. I call on the spirits of the elements, reminding us of our connection with nature. I call on the ancestors who were farmers and who were land stewards. Ashe. And I call on all the spirits of the ancestors that we may or may not know, knowing that they are all here with us today. Ashe. And if you want to call out some ancestors, we can do it together. Lucy. Ashe. 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 Peggy Moore Hope. Ashe. Booker. Ashe. Ashe.
Walter Harrison.
Ashe. Yamaja. Ashe. Ashe. Ashe.
Reggie.
Ashe.
Rhea Collins.
Ashe. Yes. Yes. Ashe. Ashe.
Martin Luther King.
Ooh, thank you. There is a presence, there is a power, and there is a source. And it is the power and the source that I am using right now. It is the Ohlone ancestors. It is all of those who have gone before us. It is all of us. It is the Creator. I am blessing this gathering. I am blessing all the farmers and the land stewards again and again and again. I am blessing the harvest and our abundance for next year here at East Bay Church of Religious Science. I am blessing the seasons, especially autumn and winter. When it rains on the earth, the soil is soft and fertile. It takes our seeds. This is a time to germinate our seeds. What is it we want? Talk to the ancestors. So right here and right now, join me in knowing. Be still, listen. Be here with intention. Listen for any messages, any feelings, any emotions from the ancestors. Be mindful how it may show up. Listen, be still. The veil is open. Ashe, amen, aho, and so it is.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. What a divine opportunity it is to come together in person in the sanctuary and throughout the virtual space, wherever you are right now. We give thanks for your presence in community with us. My name is Carol Johnson Williams. I use she, her pronouns. And welcome to a day of remembrance honoring our ancestors at the East Bay Church of Religious Science. Yes. So we have a program put together, and this is sponsored by, held by the Grief and Loss Ministry at East Bay. And we have been engaging in a day of remembrance and honoring our ancestors. This is our fifth one. This is our fifth year, and they've all been online until now, like totally online on Zoom, right? So it's wonderful to be here with you. So we are together going to, after the welcome and agreements, we're going to just have a conversation about the history of various cultures and backgrounds in terms of honoring ancestors. We're going to have an opportunity to look at building altars and forgiveness. Someone once said, can there be forgiveness between someone who has passed on already and myself? Absolutely. And then we have a wonderful, beautiful sound bath healing with Bliss. And then after we close out, and Rosanna, yes. And so we will then engage in fellowship and sharing afterwards. Okay? So, agreements. We generally share various agreements for online. In person, we just want you to remember self-care. So if you need some water, if you need to go to the restroom, you need to take a break, please honor your body. We're honoring those who are no longer in a body. We are in bodies. And so let us remember that and care for it as we honor the body as well. We are always, as we may say, listening with a heart. We're a heart with ears. So we're listening and witnessing each other with love. We don't really need this agreement necessarily around refraining from crosstalk, but that's where we refrain from giving people advice, and we speak from the personal experience when we're sharing, and very important to us is confidentiality. So what people share is theirs to share, and we say two ways in the sense of whatever is shared with us in this space, when we see the person next week or what have you, or tomorrow, we're not going to them and say, oh, let's talk about your share. You can talk about your own share. So I can talk about what I've shared or what I gleaned from the experience, but I'm not going to bring up what someone else has shared, even to that person. All right, we're in agreement? Yes. Yay. All right. And so Now we're just going to go into just sharing a bit about our cultures and backgrounds and in terms of ancestors and what are ancestors? Who are ancestors? So there are various types of ancestors. There's familial, those who may be genetically related, bloodline, as they may say. There are also ideological ancestors, those who may be our inspirational mentors. So oftentimes we may say, oh, my mother's side, my father's side, all the way to the first ancestor. There are also people who ideologically have influenced us, and whether it was personal or we read or we heard about them through history. If we call on Harriet Tubman, if we call on Martin Luther King Jr., if we call on whomever, those are ideological ancestors. Relational, we've had a personal relationship with them. They have mentored us, they have poured into us. They may have raised us, right? We have a relationship with them. We knew them when they were in the body, and they are also, we call their names as the ancestors. And then there's also environmental ancestors, the elements, the land, right? Nature, all of our relations are included in the ancestors. In the human space, often in many traditions, you're not an ancestor because you have transitioned. You're an ancestor because someone calls your name, someone remembers you. You have had impact, you have had a purposeful experience while in the body, and therefore you are remembered and revered and called upon. And we often call upon in the African traditions in which I have background and trained in, is they're called upon for various reasons to be honored and revered and respected. Yes, we call upon the well and wise ones. There are also processes to heal ancestors, and as they are healed, we are also empowered because they have the wisdom and the experiences of having been in the body, and then they also have the wisdom of being out of the body and being able to see a broader perspective of this life that we're living. And so it's a opportunity to also call upon them to work on our behalf, if you will. Yes. So my elder and one of my teachers, Melanoma Some, says that now is a time where we really need to let them know that they are needed, because in the West, he says we have a long line of people waiting to be ancestralized, and that they are waiting for us, but they don't see that we're in a space of pain, let's say, unless we make it very clear that I'm calling you now to do work for us on our behalf, because this is a serious situation. They are living in oneness. They're not seeing problems like we're seeing problems unless we call it to their attention and actually ancestralize them and give them a task. So there's an opportunity for all of us. And it's not about, oh, you're black, you're white, you're whatever it is. They don't even see that either. They can see the oneness and live in that authentically. And so we get to call them forth. Wasana is going to share. And Dr. Cynthia, are you coming forward?
You know, this is the short of it, because I can take a whole workshop, a whole day, weekend on Indigenous, as all cultures and traditions can. So this is the short of it, and this is what I want to share and make sure you guys are aware of. So many cultures and traditions celebrate this time, this season, specifically this season, autumn. It's a celebration of reaffirming Indigenous life. I'm explaining the Indigenous and the Latinx. And one connected with Mother Earth, connected to nature. It's tied to the changing seasons associated with the growing cycle of the corn. It's when the farmers and all the people ask the souls of the ancestors and the forces of nature to bring a good harvest. They were out there dancing and celebrating during this season. So after the Spaniards converted Indigenous to Christianity, the Indigenous celebration changed to Catholic, which we know today as All Saints Day, which is November 1st, and All Souls Day, which is November 2nd. There was some fear that the Indigenous cultural meaning would get lost. And then it changed again to contemporary, Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead. Still celebrating and honoring our legacy and our ancestors. That is the short of it. Like I said, I could do a workshop. So thank you very much. I'll pass it on to Dr. Cynthia.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our celebration of our ancestors. And I'll speak from the Asian and the Hawaiian tradition. So I'm wearing white this evening, and usually for us, when it comes time to honor our ancestors, we usually wear white. And so during this time, we've already had the harvest. And in the Chinese or Asian cosmology, I should say the Taoist, is the idea of heaven, earth, and the human stands in the middle. So as above, so below. And that's where we actually look at the world. And in the Taoist cosmology, out of the void, out of nothing, then the human was formed. So out of the yin and yang, then you had the 4 seasons becoming formed, which is different than the Western tradition, which looks at a deity, and from that deity, everything was created. So from the Taoist tradition, out of the nothingness, then we have a creation. And from the Huna Hawaiian tradition, it's the idea of the Ho'oponopono, which says, yes, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. And that prayer, when it's said, you can say it to someone who's living or has passed, and the vibration of that energy carries on to the ancestors. And in my family, my sister-in-law, it skips a generation, so they're able to see and talk to spirits more. And my mom also was able to talk to my grandmother all the time. And in our ancestral home, there was an altar set up, and whenever my grandma came to visit, you could hear this ping sound when she came. So that would be an indication. And even today, what we do at home is my brother every morning will light incense for the ancestors in the morning, and he also lights incense in the evening. And we can share more at some time if you would like to speak with me. And I'm complete, and I pass now to Dr. Carol.
Thank you. we want to take a moment to, and I must mention mother teacher, Brother Dr. Ishmael Tete, who is part of East Bay family as well. So we're going to, as we move into looking at how we develop altars and so forth, I'd like for you to just take a moment and reflect on the ways in which you honor your ancestors. Maybe you grew up and there was no talk of ancestors. Many of my family members, they will say, what are you talking about, ancestors? Right? But Yeshua, Jesus, has a whole lineage. There's a whole tradition around. This is how we know he is the Messiah, because he came from, right, all the way. And it's very detailed, right, in terms of ancestral lineage. And so oftentimes we may not know, but as we are decolonizing ourselves and coming to understand the power of ancestral honoring, more and more people are understanding the ways in which it was also done covertly by our elders. Yes. So, and so we want to start to share, Rosanda's going to share a bit about the altar that we have set up here. Some have come with photos that you'd like to share on the tables, and then we're going to open up space for people to start to share with each other about how you honor your ancestors and ideas for how you may do that as well. You want this microphone?
Did anyone bring any photos? Yay. So let's bring them up, and we have little frames for you to use. And if you want to put an ancestor up, you can also get a piece of paper and you write their name and fold it and just put it on the altar. And Helen has paper, no? Okay, Helen has paper and pencils, and everything we're doing right here, you can also do at home. And this altar reflects the indigenous and south of the border, Latinx. And you can put it wherever, and here's some frames right here. Yes, you can. Yeah, or lay it down. Wherever there's space, just lay down your photos or pictures, objects, if you brought objects. We can put her higher. Yeah, like that. There we go. Do we have more? And then the folks that are watching us in the little love boxes, you can bring it on Sunday. The altar will be up until the 10th, I believe. Yeah. So you can bring it during the week if you want. This church is open, not on Mondays. And please come and look at the altar before you leave. So for me, the altar building in my culture it's a celebration. It really is a time to be joyful, to play, to honor, to remember, to celebrate with the ancestors. Specifically in Mexico, the folks will walk to the graveyard and they'll stay there at the cemetery. They're cleaning their space, they're cleaning their headstone, they're bringing food, and they actually break bread and eat together. So some things you can bring for the altar are, I like to bring some water for some libation. So you have a glass of mezcal. You have some Florida water. You have some pitchers. You have a favorite drink. My father liked tamarindo. You can bring little favorite objects that remind you of them. And there is no right or wrong way to build an altar. It can be small or it can be human size. At the Mission Cultural Center in San Francisco, I haven't done it recently, but they used to have a celebration during this time. And like Carol, she's bringing some spirits and some candles for her ancestors. And at the Mission Cultural Center, their altars are human size. They actually look like the bedrooms of their ancestors. And you walk and you look at it and you see they have their little bed set up and their chair. They even have the clothes they had on when they passed away. And then you move to the next altar space and and it goes around in the whole cultural center. Yes. Reverend Dorica is looking at the altar. So there's no right or wrong way. It's really about celebrating and honoring them. If anybody saw that movie Coco, they were walking like they were going across the border, and they go, oh, let me check. Oh, nobody remembered you. There's no photo of you. You know, the ancestors are remembered by you putting their photos up, by you talking to them, by you feeding them their favorite meal with intention. I think that's it for now. And don't forget, if you don't have a picture, you can't put a name on a piece of paper and then just put it on the altar.
Thank you, Rosanna. And Constance is going to share a bit also about the Western.
Sure, I can go up there. So my tradition is come from Western Europe, and prior to the colonization of the peoples in Western Europe, which started with the Romans way back when, the ancestors were very much a part. They were honored very much like everyone else has talked about. There wasn't a whole lot of difference. I think prior to the colonization, that was pretty universal. I mean, it was slightly different, but it was very similar. And so now, just like in many other cultures, things went underground for a long time because they had to for people to stay safe. And so now it's celebrated. There's a group that Celtic witches who celebrate every year. And they just had their spiral dance on Saturday. And the spiral dance is an incredible ceremony that raises energy. And then it grounds it back down, and all the ancestors, they've got altars very similar. I was online today looking at the difference between altars from the different cultures, and there's not a lot of difference. There's slight differences, but not a lot. They all have pictures, they all have water, they all have food, they all have candles. So, you know, to me, it just goes back to that we're one. And, you know, and just like the stained glass window, we're all slightly different, but we're all one. So, so that's what I wanted to share.
Thank you, Constance. Thank you so much. Yes, many of my siblings from European descent often will say, well, we don't have that, and we don't engage in emotions and things like that, and we grieve very differently. But if you go back far enough, you will see. Mm-hmm. We all sound and look the same. What's going on here? So, okay, so next on the agenda, forgiveness. Let's take a breath. And so, Helen, our sister Helen, is going to come forth and share her story, if you will. And as she shares her story, it's an opportunity for us to reflect on our story and the possibilities for what this opening may have in store for us.
I want to say that I grew up in a household where there was abuse, there was verbal abuse, and there was also physical abuse. And I was taught to, I had to go to college, I had to go get a degree, I had to go and do, those wonderful things that would allow me to go beyond where my parents had gone. And for me, I finally did. I got into X-ray school and I was graduating, and my dad passed away 6 months before I was to graduate. I was so pissed that he had left me and didn't get to see me walk across the stage and doing something wonderful with my life. I was so pissed with him. And it took me almost about 3-4 years before I actually got to a point where I was with my daughter's father, and I was too through with what was going on. I got in the car and drove up to the hill in Berkeley and looked over and saw the bay. I could see the Golden Gate Bridge, and I could see the Bay Bridge. And I was ready to face my father and ask him, woman to man, what is it between you guys? What is all of this stuff? And that's when I realized he was not even here any longer. I know I had gone through his service, and I had known that all that while, we did what we had to do, I was very numb. It just dawned on me that he was gone. Now I recognized it. So anyway, something in me really wanted to find out what was going on. So forgiveness is one of the healing tools that we can use. Forgiveness allows us to free ourselves from the bondage that we were in. And so I decided I was going to forgive my father. It took a little while for me to do that, but I did. And I got to say, I am so proud that I have done that, because my father was there for me when I decided to stop smoking. I've tried many, many times, but in 1988, he was there. On his birthday, I had one cigarette left. And I took it out the pack and said, "This is for you, Dad, on your birthday." And I have not picked up a cigarette since. So with me releasing all of the stuff that occurred, I also found out that he was here with me all the way. My daughter, as a single parent, my father was there with me. He is the one that even encouraged me, saying that my daughter needs to be near her father or with her father. So I'm on the East Coast, and he had moved to the West Coast. All I know is that I had a way in which to get there because he had passed away. And so there was a car. My mom says, "Well, you get to use this car." Wow. I had worked a year at a hospital so that I had money. I only had $300, but to me that was a lot of money. But you gotta remember, gas was only 25 cents a gallon. So $300, woo! So I'm so grateful that I took the time to let go and let my father be here with me now. And it is wonderful. And it's not about me making or shifting and changing what was. It is me got to understand he could only do what he could do because he knew nothing else. He was doing the best that he knew how. And you just say that to me earlier. I was like, God, oops. Anyway, thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Helen. Thank you. Thank you, Helen's dad. Yes. So forgiveness is letting go of what we think should have happened. We think something should have happened differently or should be just different. And it is. As soon as we let it go, it's different. As soon as we're willing to let it go, or even see it differently, it's different. And I've learned that the ancestors also can breathe without forgiveness. And that allows, just as when we let something go, it's like it opens up another layer of energy for us to be available to. It also allows the other side of the veil to be open to a more expansive energy that can work with us. And so I just want to take an opportunity to ask ourselves, is there anything that you wish was different about when the ancestor was embodied? Is there anything that you would like to just release in forgiveness? And taking a breath and just noticing what comes up. The next thing we invite you to ponder is, what are you thankful for? What is it that you would like to express gratitude for? And it doesn't even necessarily mean the thing that you are seeking around forgiveness, but just gratitude. And taking in a deep breath. If you want to take a moment to write down what's come up, we have some paper and some pencils. If you raise your hand, you can get a sheet of paper and a pencil. Some may choose to put it in the notes section in their phone, that's fine too, but there's something about writing also that releases the energy of it. And it might look like, I'm willing to forgive, I'm willing to have forgiven, thank you. It can be as simple as that. And then an opportunity to just look for those moments that demonstrate that, yeah, it's done. The yes is a yes. Can we have that song playing softly in the background? And so, as we move through this time and this process, if it comes up that you just need to tell them off, you have permission to do so. So this is not a bypass. This is not a, okay, I said I forgive, so that's it. And so there are rituals where you just spend the night. The first night is telling them all the stuff. The rot gut, you know, behind the navel, yeah, I'm gonna tell you right now stuff. What you did, what you didn't do, I don't even know your name, but you didn't do this, or else we wouldn't be here in this, and have those conversations before getting to the, I love you, and thank you. Because to have ancestors to be here 400 years back, they say it takes over 4,000 direct line ancestors to have survived, thrived, given birth, raised, somehow made sure we got here in a body. Yeah, over 4,000 bodies, over 12 generations, 400 years. Yeah. So, we're going to take a break. And during the break, we're going to get ourselves ready for the sound bath. How many people have never had a sound bath or have no idea what that is in the room? Okay, everybody knows what it is. Bliss, do you want to share a bit about what we can do to prepare? There's some extra open space here. We can also move some more chairs if need be. And we will have the sound bath. And those online, take a bio break, and then get yourself comfortable as well. And we will shower you with the sound bath as well.
Okay. Okay, so this information is for those who are here physically and also for those online. The main thing that we want you to do is to be as comfortable as you can be. For some of us, that means lying down. For others, it means sitting up. If you're making the choice to lie down, I recommend something like a mat, like a yoga mat or an exercise mat. You might also want to have a light blanket. This particular process, when you're in the midst of a sound bath, your temperature can change suddenly. You may feel warm, you may feel cool, it just kind of changes, so it's good to be prepared for that. So if you are watching by video, hopefully you have time to grab those particular items that you may want. Also, it's good to have water nearby. If you're here in this space physically, something that's bottled would be preferred if you feel that you need to have water nearby. Some people enjoy a pillow for their head, and sometimes underneath the back of the knees to take some of the pressure off of your back. So that's something to keep in mind. I also like to recommend for people who like it really dark to have like something to cover your eyes with, you know, an eye cover or a mask or something like that. The main thing is comfort, being open to what may come through, being open to sounds that you may hear. People are moved differently, so if you're in space with community, you may hear tears, you may hear laughter, you may hear other sounds. Be aware that how we do things with the inner soul vibration, we incorporate things like drums. So you will hear some light drumming. You will also hear the bowls, you'll hear rattles, you'll hear things that sound like the ocean. And so just be open and receptive. That's the main thing that I would recommend. So really happy to have you here with us, the Inner Soul Vibration, as we continue to celebrate our ancestors. Thank you.
Thank you, Bliss, and the inner soul's vibration. So Dr. Cynthia, Rosana, and Bliss will be leading that. So we'll take a 5-minute break. So care for your bodies. And we'll set up in the room, and we'll have some time at home to set up.
spending this sacred time with us, the Inner Soul Vibration. I have with me two wonderful humans who are part of the Inner Soul Vibration, Dr. Cynthia and Rosanna, who has been with me for each and every sound bath. And we're very, very happy and pleased to be here to create this sacred space, this sacred container for you. As we remember our ancestors, all of their love, their guidance, those that we're moving into a forgiveness space, all of it, every piece of it. So we thank you for joining us and being a part of this. Welcome back. Thank you.
Wow. Bliss and the inner soul vibration. Thank you for that healing sound. Yes. And we want to say thank you to Rosanna, Dr. Cynthia. Thank you to the Wednesday Power Hour team, Kay Suzanne, Maria Antoinetta, and Helen, and Al, who are also part of the Grief and Loss team ministry. And thank you to everyone who has participated and arrived here in person and contributed their energy to the space as love streamers. And special gratitude to Arlene and Byron, our AV team. And Robert Johnson is in the parking lot. Greeting everyone and holding space. So we want to continue this amazing energy and space. If you would like to, you can join us virtually on Zoom on November 9th, second Saturday of every month. The Grief and Loss Ministry has Sacred Circle. And it's a sacred listening circle. So it's an opportunity to share what's on our hearts, what's coming through, what's come up and come through during this time together. And with the holidays coming up and everything. So we invite you to join us on Zoom, and the link is on the church's website, www.ebcrs.org. And the altars will remain in the sanctuary with your loved ones' photos and names and your objects until November 10th. So through next Sunday and this coming Sunday and the following Sunday. So you'll have an opportunity to have them here and to gather them. If you leave your name on them as well, we'll know who to send them to. but we will, if you don't have an opportunity, they'll be in a space here where you can get them at a later date. Okay, so let's take a moment for gracious giving. We give back, not even give back, but pour into this space that continues to rise up to greet us, to be a space where we can come and have these experiences and share them in community and with a broader community as we engage in radical oneness in the transformation of the entire planet. And may choose to say with me the affirmation. I am grateful for all that I have, all that I am, and all that is. I give and receive from the overflow. And so it is. Yes, yes, yes. And my understanding is that there are some treats in the kitchen. And so, y'all look so comfortable. I feel so floaty, and yeah, this is great. And so maybe get a little bite before you leave, and make sure that you are in your body. Make sure you are fully back in your body. Let's just bless the offering and bless this time together. And so just giving thanks for the gifts, the givers of time, of talent, of treasure, of divine sacred energy. Giving thanks to the ancestors, those who paved the way that we may be here. Those ancestors who have incarnated again as us. And as we pour into those yet to come, we are actually pouring into ourselves upon our return. And knowing that this place, the East Bay Church of Religious Science, will still be here for generations to come. Blessing and healing, transforming, and knowing the truth that all is one. And so we let it be. As we declare Ashe, Amen, and so it is. Thank you, everyone. May the healing vibration of the space, the healing of the ancestors, the healing of the well and wise ones dwell with us and rest with us as we travel, as we fellowship together, and as we return to this space. Yes. So let's partake and feel free to share your experience with each other. Okay. And we have a closing song. Love you, East Bay. Love it.
In my pain, there inside my weakness is the seed of something greater in me, and the shame of not choosing higher, and all the disappointing moments fade into God. No mistakes have been made in God. All the ways that we seem to fail in God, all fades into God. No choice, a prisoner of anguish in a jail of I'm so lonely, a jail of all is lost, but the stars are shining to remind us the seed will need the darkness to change into new life, and no mistakes have been made in God. Oh,